Okay, gentlemen, percents and fractions. Now, guys, I'm going to be asking you some questions, but this is some pretty simple stuff. This is stuff that you've looked over last year in Miss HS's class. Okay. On this first example, it says write 29% and 45% as fractions in simplest form. Now, guys, just before we get started here, I want to look at the word percent. It used to be two words, percent, meaning for every 100. Like miles per hour means miles for every hour. Okay, percent means for every 100. Okay, so when I see something like in A, it says 29%. What does that really mean for us, Will K?
All we need to do is just like figure out, like put them in fractions.
I'm sorry, what did percent mean?
Percent means per hundred.
For every 100, which is what we just said. So if I'm looking at 29% and it says to please write that as a fraction in simplest form, how would I do that?
Well, 29 is it's a prime number. So.
Okay, I'm sorry, hang on there, Will. Henry, can you help me here? I'm looking, it says 29%, please write that as a fraction. 29 over 100. That means 29 for every 100. Okay? And Will K, I'm going to come back to you now. And you told me that 29 is prime. Is there anything I can do to reduce this fraction? Okay, that's what we needed to do first. We needed a fraction before we could reduce it. Right? Okay. Now we're not done with A. Nicholas Quazzo, can you help me with the next one? Is it 9 over 20? Because 5 goes into both. So that's going to give me 9 over 20. Good. But guys, we can always take any percent, right, and just put it over 100. Okay? Because that's what percent means. It's just a fraction in a different form. Okay? 29 over 100. 45 over 100, and then we reduce it to 9 over 20. Okay, that's good. Now let's look at B here. Now in B, they actually ask us to write 7/10 and 3/5 as percents. So we really have two parts to B. Okay, let's start with 7/10. They want that to be written as a percent. But remember, what that means is they just want this fraction written as something with 100 on the bottom. That's all they want. That's why we've been doing proportions, Spencer, because now that makes this very simple, doesn't it? If I want to know what the percent is, all I have to do is cross multiply. Miles, will you help me? What do I get? When I cross multiply, I get 10x is equal to 700. Well done. Where do I go from there, Dane? Okay, I have cross multiplied. What do I do now to simplify? Divide by 10. Good. And I'm going to get that x is equal to what, Dane? 70. Now, I know that x equals 70, but they said to please write this as a percent. So how should I write the answer to this question, Ross?
70
Not 70 over 100. That's as a fraction. 70 with the little percent sign behind it. Okay? All right. Well, you can reduce this percent. Ross just asked, can I reduce percents? This percent I can't reduce when I write it as a fraction. Okay? But when I write this percent as a fraction, I can then reduce it. Okay? But do you see that this is no longer, this is no longer a percent, right? As soon as I write it as a fraction and reduce it, it's not per 100 anymore. But that's okay. I can write a whole number as a fraction. Okay? I could write it as a decimal. I can write it as a percent. Okay? All right, let's look at this last one here. It's 3/5. We want to write that as a percent. Okay, well, I just want to find out what's the fraction with 100 on the bottom. What do I need to do? We'll see. I cross multiply and I get 5x equals 300. I'm going to get 60 on the top, right, when I divide by 5. So that means that this is 60%. Excellent job, guys. Let's look at example 2.